Have you ever wondered why the world is filled with both beauty and brokenness? Why do we long for paradise, yet struggle with pain and temptation? The answer goes back to the very first man and woman, Adam and Eve, and their story in the Garden of Eden. This is not just an ancient tale. It's the foundation of the human story, and your story too. The creation of man and woman. God formed Adam from the dust of the ground and breathed life into him. Unlike the rest of creation, Adam was made in God's image. Soon after, God said, "It is not good for man to be alone." So from Adam's side, God created Eve, a perfect companion. Together they lived in harmony with God, with each other, and with nature. Life in the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden was paradise itself. Rivers flowed, trees blossomed, and every need was provided. At the center stood two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God gave Adam and Eve freedom to eat from every tree except one. It was a simple command, a test of trust and obedience. The serpent's deception. But into this perfect world crept the serpent, crafty and cunning. He asked Eve, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree?" His question sowed doubt. The serpent promised wisdom and godlike power if they ate the forbidden fruit. Temptation whispered, "You will not surely die." The fall of man. Eve took the fruit, ate, and gave some to Adam who was with her. In that moment, innocence was lost. Their eyes were opened, but instead of godlike power, they felt shame. They realized they were naked and tried to cover themselves with fig leaves. What once was pure and unbroken was now stained by disobedience. God's confrontation. God walked in the garden and called out, "Where are you?" Not because he didn't know, but because he wanted them to face their choice. Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. And so began the cycle of blame and brokenness that still echoes in our lives today. The curse and the promise. Because of their sin, the ground was cursed. Work became hard. Pain entered life. Death became certain, and they were banished from Eden. But even in judgment, God gave hope, a promise that one day a descendant of Eve would crush the serpent's head. This was the first whisper of the gospel, the promise of Jesus Christ. Lessons from the garden. The story of Adam and Eve isn't just about them, it's about us. We too face temptation. We too wrestle with obedience and trust. But just as their story pointed to a Savior, so does ours. God's plan was never to abandon us, but to redeem us. The Garden of Eden shows us where we came from, why the world is broken, and why we need a Savior. And the good news is, Jesus is that Savior. The fall began with disobedience in a garden, but redemption was won in another garden, the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus said, "Not my will, but yours be done." If this story has spoken to your heart, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with others. Leave a comment about what stood out to you, and subscribe for more Bible stories that bring ancient truth to life. Together, let's keep walking closer with God.